Welcome back. There are plenty of stocks in focus, so let's get straight to it. Our research team is standing by with a list of top 10 stocks. Reema is joining in first up to tell us why she's watching TCS and Vodafone Idea. Reema, over to you.
Thanks so much for that. So first for TCS, it's a deal win in the BFSI sector. The company has won a deal from a US regional bank called Central Bank. The size of the deal is not disclosed, but it's a positive for TCS. The other one we're watching for is Vodafone Idea. Now, if you remember, Vodafone Idea has a tower vendor called ATC, American Tower Company. Now, Vodafone owed money to ATC. It was unable to pay that. So therefore, about a year back, the company issued some OCDs, optionally convertible debentures to ATC in lieu of those liabilities. The OTCs that were issued were amounting to about 1,600 crore rupees. Now, what the company has announced yesterday is that ATC, that's American Tower Company, has decided to convert those OCDs into equity. So, the amount that they're converting is close to about 1,440 crore. What does this mean for Vodafone Idea? Well, at least the liability, the debt on the balance sheet up to 1,440 crore gets wiped out because it gets converted into equity. That's a positive. But on the flip side, there will be an equity dilution amounting to about 2.3%. I mean, 1,440 is about 2.3% of the company's overall market cap. So that's the news on Vodafone Idea.
All right, Reema, thanks very much for that. Well, let's talk about the healthcare and pharmaceutical space. GPT Healthcare and Aurobindo Pharma are the two we're focused on this morning. Ekta has got details. Ekta, morning.
Morning. I'll start with GPT Healthcare because it'll be reacting to its Q3 numbers post-listing. So the revenue was up only around 4% on a year-on-year basis. The margins were maintained at around 22%. And the profit was higher as well, but the revenue growth slowed down as compared to what they have recorded, say, in FY23, which was a double-digit growth. Q-on-Q as well, the revenue was a bit slower and the margins were a bit lower on a sequential basis as well. 9 months occupancy was at around 59.7% versus 58.9% that they did in FY23. And the ARPOBs, or the average revenue per occupied bed, they like to keep them low, but it has improved, so it stood at around 32,500 odd rupees. Overall, I'd probably go with a red only because the growth for the top line has slowed down this time. Aurobindo's mild green because they've got the US FDA nod for a nasal spray. The product will be launched in Q1 of FY25. Estimated market size is $44 million. Remember, Aurobindo has been in focus because of US FDA issues such as in their Unit 3 part of their UGR injectables business, and hence maybe this would come as a positive.
Okay, all right, Ekta, thanks a lot for that. Well, let's go back to Reema. She's here to tell us about Bharti Airtel because Bharti Airtel Hexacom, the IPO is getting some bit of, moving ahead. Reema, tell us more.
Thanks so much for that. So Bharti Hexacom is also a telecom company, but how is it different from Bharti Airtel? It operates only in two regions. One is Rajasthan and Northeast. This is a company which is owned by Bharti Airtel. Bharti Airtel has a 70% stake in Bharti Hexacom. In January of this year, they had filed the DRHP with SEBI, and we understand yesterday that SEBI has given its go-ahead, a green light, for the DRHP. Basically, they've approved the DRHP. Now, some details that we know from the DRHP, there is no fresh issue, which means no money goes into the company. It's a pure offer for sale. But again, here, it's not Bharti Airtel, which is looking to sell stake. It's its other party, which is Telecommunication Consultants India, which was looking to sell about 10 crore shares. So it's not direct monetization by Bharti Airtel, money going into Bharti Airtel. But, an IPO is always a value unlocking step. As I said, this is a company which provides telecom services in Rajasthan and Northeast. They're a formidable player there. In Rajasthan, its market share is approximately 40%. In the Northeastern circles, it's close to about 50%. And a quick word on their size. The top line of the company last year was 6,700 crore with a bottom line of 550 crore rupees. Back to you.
Okay, thanks a lot, Reema, for that. Let's hop across to Vamakshi now. She has some more stocks that are in the news. Vamakshi, what are you looking at?
Well, I'm looking at Shakti Pumps to start with. The company has launched a QIP. They are looking to raise 200 crores and the floor price has been set at 1,272 rupees per share, which is coming in at a discount of almost 7% to the closing price yesterday. And that is the reason why I'm going with a red for this counter. However, important to know that a board meeting is scheduled to happen on March 22nd to determine the issue price for this QIP. So watch out for Shakti Pumps. Other than that, keep an eye out on Yes Bank. The company is expected to open higher higher today. They have concluded transfer of stressed loan exposure in Katera, India to Prudent ARC for almost 203 crores. Katera, keep in mind, was pushed into corporate insolvency last year, and Yes Bank had an exposure of almost 521 crores towards this company, but they have managed to recover nearly 40% of its exposure to Katera. So therefore, I'm going with the green for Yes Bank. And lastly, we will be focusing on Tamil Nadu Mercantile Bank, going with the red. RBI has imposed a monetary penalty of almost 1.32 crores on Tamil Nadu Mercantile Bank. The penalty has been imposed as the bank has failed to benchmark the interest rate on certain floating rate loans to MSMEs. It has adopted multiple benchmarks within the same loan category and has also failed to price certain floating rate loans with reference to actual applicable benchmark rate. So given all of those factors, going with the red for Tamil Nadu Mercantile Bank.
All right, Vamakshi, thanks very much for that. Well, let's talk about more stocks with news flow. IRB, Infra, JK Cement. Upasana has got details on these. Upasana, morning.
Good morning. First up is IRB Infra. Well, the two units, that is IRB Kota Tollway Private Limited and IRB Gwalior, has achieved financial closure for the implementation of TOT project, which mainly operates in Madhya Pradesh and Uttar Pradesh, by collectively tying up 1,131 crores from the lenders. That's the reason the stock will be in focus today. Next up is JK Cement. The company submits winning bids for two coal blocks, namely Mahan Coal Block and west of Sadol Coal Block, which is mainly in south, in the recent commercial coal mine e-auction organized by Ministry of Coal on 12th to 13th of March 2024. That's the reason even this stock will remain in focus today.
All right, thanks a lot for that, Upasana. Well, those are a couple of stocks. We have lots of stock-specific action to track. We're looking at TCS, Vodafone Idea, Bharti Airtel, Aurobindo Pharma, Yes Bank, IRB Infra and JK Cement. That's on our radar on the back of positive news flow. There's GPT Healthcare, Shakti Pumps, Tamil Nadu Mercantile Bank. That's on our radar. That's likely to perhaps open in the red. But we also told you how crude prices have moved to $87 a barrel on Brent. Manisha Gupta is joining in for a roundup of all the action from the commodity markets. Manisha, good morning.
Morning, Sonia. Thank you for that. Well, yes, trading above $87 a barrel. It's a 5-month high, and we are up by 14% in this year in case of crude oil prices. Well, even as the dollar index is gained for a fifth straight day and it's holding at a 2-week highs, we have seen continued strength in case of crude prices there. There is support because of declining supplies from Iraq, Saudi, and Russia as well. Actually, Ukraine drones targeted 7 refineries in the month of March in Russia, and that has led to 7% decline in Russian refining capacity, and that is where the premium is coming in from. In case of metals, it's really going to be about the U.S. Fed meeting announcement today, while, of course, no rate cut is expected, but the tone and the guidance going forward is where the markets will take cues from. Also, with the dollar index trading at around 2-week highs, that is putting pressure. So many of the metals, including industrial metals, which is copper, aluminum, zinc, have all started slightly weak in Asia today.
Manisha, thanks very much for that. So that's commodities in focus right now. We have